Hello, my name is Rene Castro, and welcome to Building Video Games with Python, Lesson 9. In this lesson, we're going to explore the use of random numbers to add some unpredictability to our game. Specifically, we're going to move the images around when certain collisions happen. So let's get to it. So let's run our game and see what we have so far. Alright, so we saw a couple of collisions happening there. I'm in full control of the crosshairs, and I can click to shoot the zombie, increasing my score. But the challenge here is that, I could just follow the zombie. So it'd be kind of nice if once I shoot the zombie pops up in a different location, making it harder for the player to simply follow the path of the zombie. So let's try that. And just make this a little bigger. So let's practice something we've been discussing through all these lessons, which is to listen to what we say and have it guide us in what the code should be. So when the player clicks on the zombie, we want to move the zombie to a random location. Alright, so being experts at listening to what we say now, we know that it's going to be zombie dot move to, the function we learned in the last lesson. And we recall that move to required an x and a y. Let's just put that down for now. X and y. But what values are going to be for x and y? Right now the computer doesn't know that. At no place in our game have we specified what the value of x and y are. But we know from our original statement we want to move the zombie to a random location, which means a random x and y. So let's say x equals, we need to give x a random value. Now Python has a library called random, which has a function called ranInt. ranInt produces a random integer based on a lower bound and an upper bound. So we're going to use this to produce our random numbers. So I'm going to say randInt, and I'm going to say 100, comma, as the lower bound, and we'll say 650. Now you might say, how did I decide on these numbers? Well, our screen is 800 wide. So 0 resides on the left side, 800 resides on the right side. So we don't want the x value to be too close to the left edge, and we don't want it to be too close to the right edge. So we want some number from 0 to 800, but not that close. So that's how I chose 100 and 650. Let's do the same thing with the y, where the top of the screen is the y value of 0, where the bottom of the screen is the y value of 600. So again, we don't want to get too close to the edges, so we're going to have the computer produce a random y value, 100, and let's say 450. So the computer is going to produce these two random numbers for the x and the y, and it's going to use those random numbers to move the zombie to whatever random location that is when the user clicks the mouse and the player has collided with the zombie. In essence, shot the zombie. So let's run the program and let's see what we have so far. Okay, so I'm going to click, and hopefully this first time I click, the zombie is going to pop up in a random location. Very good. So now it's going to make it a little more challenging for the player to have to click on the zombie, because it can't just follow the path, because the zombie's going to pop in different locations each time. You saw a slight glitch there in the sense that if you produce a random location too close to the edges, the image is going to get stuck there with the bounce, which is why I kind of overshot it on on the lower end with the 450 and on the right side with the 650. I probably should have gone a little more with the top and the left in terms of using 150 and 150 here, but that's okay. You get the idea of a random location. You could definitely continue to play with the values to something that suits you in your particular game with your particular images. So now that the zombie's moving to random locations every time we shoot it, let's make the turkey smart too. Right now the turkey kind of just takes it like a man. You know, the minute the zombie collides with it, he kind of just stays there and continues to collide with it. Let's have the turkey move to a random location the first time the zombie tries to eat it. So we want the turkey to move to a random location when the zombie collides with it. So it's an excellent opportunity to do a little creative copy and pasting because it's the exact same solution. We need a random values for X, random values for Y, and we need to tell the turkey to move to that random X and Y value location. So let's save it, let's try it. And hopefully now we'll see that. Just gonna have some fun with the zombie. Come on, zombie. There we go. That should cause a collision. So one thing you'll also notice that the collisions aren't necessarily always the best, in that sometimes it'll seem like the images should have collided, but they're actually passing through, like right there. Most of us would have agreed that that was a collision. In a future game, you'll see that there's another way that we can do collision. There's an option to collide it with that will produce a more accurate collision. But for right now, we're just going to leave it like that. Again, it's still going to be a very playable game as a first game. So let's go back. Some other options that you may want to explore when it comes to random numbers. For instance, up here, the zombie has a fixed speed of 6 and a fixed speed and a fixed angle of 60. Hey, why don't you produce some random numbers for a random speed and a random angle? You could do the same thing with the turkey instead of just having 4 and 30. And here's something else you could do if you wanted to as well. You can actually change the speed and the direction of the zombie during the game. It doesn't necessarily have to always exist outside the game. So imagine this. You shot the zombie got pissed off, decided to move to a random location, and it decided to change the way it was traveling. Because right now, hopefully the other thing that you saw is that even though it was in a random location, it was still in the same direction as the original way it was moving. Still making it somewhat easy for the player to kind of anticipate where the zombie is going to be going. So again, random numbers are a great programming concept to add unpredictability to your game and to change it up, make the game challenging. Let's go back to our objectives and let's go over what we've learned in this lesson. So we introduced random numbers and we introduced them specifically to move images to random locations, but we kind of talked about there's many opportunities to produce random numbers and to change the way the game reacts based off those random numbers. And in future lessons, we'll look more into random numbers and opportunities to change the way the game plays out. Yeah, thank you for watching.